Okay, Terri. So it's been a year.
Almost
a year. Take me back to about a year ago when you found out your diagnosis.
Well, I went in for a mammogram, like I always do, every year. And they called me up and said, hey, we'd like you to come back and we want to check a few things out. We've all gotten those abnormals before, right? And I was like, okay. So I went in and they took an image and she's like, go sit out in the lobby or the waiting area. And then she comes back and she says, okay, we're gonna do it again. Go sit out in the lobby. She comes back, she goes, one more time. And that's when I knew.
Really?
That's when I knew. And then she said, okay, we're gonna go in this room and the radiologist wants to talk to you. And that's when I knew something wasn't right.
Right.
However, that means that they didn't like what they saw and the next step is a biopsy. It was my second biopsy, however, in 2 years.
Okay.
Same side, but that was not a good sign for me.
Right.
And anyway, I just had a feeling.
Well, it sounds like it when you were just with all the different imaging.
Yeah.
You just your gut, your instincts were telling you something was wrong.
Yeah, for sure. And so a couple days go by and I'm driving home and my gynecologist office called and she said, hey, do you have a minute? And I could just tell by her voice. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, you're driving, right? And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, why don't you call me when you're home? And I go, nope, go ahead and tell me, because I knew. And she said, I'm sorry. And I was just like, my brain flipped a switch. I swear.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what's next?
So you went into go mode.
I went into go mode.
Like, what do we need to do to fix this?
I'm like, I couldn't even absorb it. I couldn't even say the word. And I'm driving home. I was just around the corner from home. And I get home and my husband and my oldest son, Kyle's, they're in the garage talking. And I walk in and I'm sure I had this look on my face.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, everything okay? And I said, I got breast cancer.
Just like that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know else how to say it. And I didn't know anything else at that point except that I had breast cancer. I didn't know what kind, I didn't know what stage, I didn't know what's next, and except that I knew I had to go see another doctor.
Right.
And my son went,
oh God,
like that. And my husband went, okay. And it was just silence for a few minutes. And my mind is just reeling like, what is just happening right now?
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what happened after that, but I just remember just walking away and just going, yeah, I got to go start dinner. You know,
Yeah.
You know, it was just like a mind numbing.
Yeah. It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot, like when you say you couldn't even say it, sometimes when you even think it, you're like, that sentence doesn't make sense.
Right. Right. It's like, what?
Yeah.
No, how can that be?
Yeah.
I don't have breast cancer in my family. I mean, I have cancer in my family, but not a lot, right? But any cancer's not good from what I've learned. But I'm like, how could this happen?
Right.
I get mammograms every single year. I have ever since I could. And I'm just like, okay. And then your mind just flips a switch. Mine did. Flipped a switch. And I'm just like, okay, I'm in go mode.
Yeah.
I'm in just like go mode.
Right. Like we have a problem to fix here. We're going to, yeah.
I don't even know if it's a problem, Heidi. It's the weirdest thing for me. And the way I embraced it was, and everybody's different, right? But I just was like, okay, what do I got to do? And so, you know, you got to make an appointment here, make an appointment there. So the first person you see is a breast specialist. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting a phone call on my phone, and it said, Cancer Center. And I was like, why is a cancer center calling me? I swear.
I believe it hasn't
registered.
Sunk in.
No.
It hasn't registered, yeah.
And I'm like,
I believe that.
Why is it?
Right.
And then I went, oh,
right. Yeah.
Damn. They're calling me because I have cancer.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've still quite embraced it. I got diagnosed in October of last year. I had my surgery in January. 3 or 4 weeks after that, I did 33 treatments of radiation. And I still haven't embraced it.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned that after you told your son and your husband that you went, I got to go make dinner. I think as women, we are always putting others first or thinking about our to-do list. And in that same vein, we try to protect the people we love.
Yeah.
How did you tell your mom?
Oh, that was hard.
Yeah.
Because as you know, and everybody knows, she just turned 100, yeah. So she's 99. I'm her baby. We're very close. And I knew my husband could handle it. I knew my kids could handle it. I wasn't sure how my mom was going to handle it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's where I got my genes from, from my mom. She was obviously very concerned and really scared for me.
For sure.
But she also put up a very strong front. And she honestly didn't ask me too many questions. I know she was very worried because she told everybody around me how worried she was. But she pretty much was, I knew, you know, because she wasn't, there's a lot she can do. There's not a lot anybody can do, right. You know, like for you.
Right.
It's because it's, you know, your own mental thing. But I was actually very proud of her. She handled it well, and she did as much as she could for me emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's still your mom.
Still my mom.
Even though,
and I'm still her baby.
Exactly. Even though the roles have shifted a little bit as she's gotten older, she's still your mama.
Yeah.
One of the things that you talked about early in your journey was learning the type of cancer that you have.
Yeah.
That matters. You know, there's several different types. What type were you diagnosed with?
So I have ductile carcinoma in situ, HER2 positive, which in our term, talking girl to girl here, means if you're going to get breast cancer, it's the kind to get.
Yeah, okay.
So I was grateful for that. It's a slow moving cancer, and it has a tendency to stay very isolated, which I was grateful for. Yeah. It was stage 1, which boggled my mind because, as I said, I got my mammogram every single year. So what that told me is that had I waited 6 months, God forbid another year, it would have been stage 2, and my treatment plan would have been much, much different than what it was. I feel very lucky. I feel so blessed to have had the type of cancer and caught it when I did, because I didn't have to go through chemotherapy. The radiation treatments were tough. I'm not gonna lie, they were tough, but I did it, and the next part of the treatment plan is medication. They say 5 to 10 years, because HER2 positive for me meant that I'm estrogen receptive, meaning my cancer feeds off of estrogen.
Okay.
I was doing hormone replacement therapy before that, and then I thought, oh my gosh, is it my fault? Did I do this to myself? And my doctors assured me that no, I didn't, that it's just my body.
Right.
So having had gotten that mammogram when I did, I feel like you know, somebody's watching out for me.
Yeah.
And had I prolonged it even 6 months, Heidi, I don't know, that could have made all the difference in the world. Because I've talked to so many women who have put it off, even for a short period of time, only to get that diagnosis that changes everything.
Everything. You know, one of the things that was interesting to me is we've talked about breast cancer for years and years, decades, right? So much that I think people don't realize how much is involved even with a stage 1 diagnosis.
Right.
Talking with you opened my eyes to that. The number of decisions you had to make in a very short amount of time. Tell me how, not necessarily so much which decisions you had to make, but what were you weighing? What factors were you considering when you were making those choices?
Well, there are a lot.
Yeah.
And I will talk, first of all, about my medical team. They're amazing. And they weren't all assembled initially.
Right.
I went through a couple different interviews because we can, and I was grateful for that. And the very first doctor I talked to, breast surgeon, she said, if you were my girlfriend, I would say go get a second opinion. And I was like, wow, thank you, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, for sure.
My medical oncologist, I had to find the team I knew that I felt comfortable with, even though I haven't assembled all of them yet. Because a medical oncologist you have for the rest of your life, when she said that to me, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the rest of my life. So, so decisions had to be made pretty quickly because you want to get rid of the cancer as quickly as possible.
Right.
So do you do a lumpectomy? Do you do a mastectomy? That was a big decision for me. I chose to do a lumpectomy, which meant that if I did a lumpectomy, then I had to do the radiation. Well, I didn't have to.
Right.
Everything's a choice. But in order to follow the treatment plan, that's what would have been next. So I chose the lumpectomy, and I did the radiation. A lot of women I know went straight for a mastectomy. Looking back, would I have done it differently? I'm not sure yet.
Really? Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. You asked me that question before, and I was
did.
like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to go with what I did as the right thing for me
now.
at the time and for now. And should I need to do a mastectomy later, I can. But at the time, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah. We have chatted a lot about this, and you've always been very...
And cried a lot.
And cried a lot. You've always been very positive. Like this wasn't going to beat you. Where did that strength come from?
My mom. She's the strongest woman I know, and she would never, ever let anything get her down. And she's tough, she still is tough. And I learned from her to forge ahead. I learned on my own to take a break every once in a while, and it's okay. I am too young to let this beat me. And I am smart enough to know that there's a lot of other people smarter than I am. Because, to be honest with you, there was a time when I was just going to do the lumpectomy and call it a day.
Really?
And not do the radiation, even. And my radiologist called, and he said, oh, no. So I listened. I'm glad I did. So I did most of the protocol. I'm choosing to not take the 5 to 10 year medication that they want. So I feel guilty about that sometimes, but I feel like I've done everything I feel is right for me to beat it. But here's my thing. I don't know if you ever really beat it.
Right. In all the conversations we've had in our team meetings, we've talked to other women, and we've all learned so much about this since you were diagnosed. And a lot of people will say, she is a breast cancer survivor. You have not yet called yourself that. You're not comfortable with that. Why?
Maybe because it's too soon.
Yeah.
I've gone back in and I've gotten my mammogram. I've gotten my ultrasound. I got my mammogram and they're like, And I wasn't supposed to get an ultrasound. They're like, oh, we're gonna have you go get an ultrasound. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And then the radiologist comes and said, well, there's a little something we're gonna keep an eye on. You're good. But I just feel like when you are diagnosed, there's always that chance. And I know I'm not alone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, you always wonder.
It's always back here, right?
Could it come back, you know, and could it come back someplace else? You know, not just in the breast. I still have all my breast tissue. Could it come back someplace else? I don't know. And one woman called herself a warrior, and I liked that word a lot, because you're always going to fight. And, you know, God forbid, should it come back, I'll fight that too.
Yeah.
You know, but I have to fight it my way. You know, the protocol it's not right for everyone.
Right.
And I have to do what's right for me. Like I said, I'm not taking the medication. I feel a little guilty about that sometimes, and I'm still learning about it. It's always an option,
Right.
and I still might do it. I don't know.
Okay.
Because it does kind of keep me up at night, you know. But I am going to survive day by day. How about that?
I like it. So I think any cancer patient thinks of ringing the bell. That's the goal, right? To be declared cancer-free. You got to do that.
I did. Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I can't believe that I did 33 treatments. And they do not let you skip any. Yeah. First of all, when I found out that I needed to do 33, I'm like, I about fell off my chair. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So it was very localized, which was a good thing. But what happened was, and at first it was like, I was so scared going in for that first treatment. I was petrified. Yeah. And it was like 5 minutes in, they're like, you're done. I'm like, really? So it was in and out, but it was every day for 6 weeks.
What's next for you and how you approach this? You know, the first year is behind you. Do you let yourself take that deep breath yet? No. No, because I think once you get a diagnosis, you're always on the lookout. Yeah.
You know, are you eating right? Are you exercising? No and no. Yeah. I'm not. You know why? I feel like I went into, like, I always ate right and exercised, so why does it matter?
Yeah.
Is that weird?
No.
Yeah, because I always felt like I did the right thing.
You did it, and then you got cancer anyway.
And I got cancer anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't eat sugar, don't drink wine.
Yeah.
You know, a friend of mine who had been through hell and back with her breast cancer, I said, Laura, they told me not to drink wine anymore. And she goes, oh no, girl, now is not the time to stop.
I know, last year I bought you non-alcoholic wine. You're like, no. I was like, I was trying to follow doctor's orders.
No, I'm still obviously taking care of myself. Yeah. I really am. But I just am not going to let this get in my way. I'm not going to let it overcome me, consume me. Oh my gosh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You know, it might come back. And you know what? If it comes back, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I do everything I need to do to monitor it and keep an eye on it. But girl, I'm going to live my life. I'm young.
Yeah.
And because I have a platform like this, I'm going to tell any woman that will listen to me to get a mammogram.
Yeah.
Because it saved my life, and it will save yours. And I know you've got yours coming. And I know a lot of women already have said, I got my mammogram, I got my mammogram, because it's so simple.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.